my name is Megan O'Russell.
And my name is Christopher Russell, and welcome back to Page by Page, writing the book in real time. And it is our St. Paddy's Day episode, even though it is coming out a day late.
It is coming out a day late because though our building is generally super quiet, other than the kids who play soccer in the hall, which is the most adorable nuisance, it's really a very quiet building.
It is.
So we didn't think of the fact that everyone's Irish on St. Paddy's Day. And, you know, it doesn't take a lot of neighborly noise to prohibit podcasting.
No.
So,
and generally speaking, our neighbors are quite quiet. Like, it's kind of creepy, actually.
Yeah.
So that was quite a change.
There have been a couple times where I'm sort of wondering if the people who, not above us, but like behind us, there have been a couple times where I'm like, are they dead?
We should ask Ella, did you see anything?
Did you see anything?
Did you get snagged on any weird thorns of time here?
Well, no, it's because they had like this weird blue light on in one of the bedrooms. Like this bright blue light coming through the curtains.
And it was their soul leaving their body.
No, it was the only light on in the unit for like 5 days.
Oh, okay.
So I was sincerely like, someone's dead.
Look, either somebody really likes...
Honestly, what I did was I went over to see if there were flies on their window.
Oh my God.
Well, because it's the first floor, so I didn't look in. I just like took a peek and I was like, there's no flies gathering, so I guess nobody's dead.
Cannot. Oh my God. All right.
That was my logic.
Well, that does away with what I was going to say. That's much better. Okay. So before we talk about what we did yesterday, and we're then going to come back and record until we came back to what we came back to, let us introduce the beer of the week. I got this specifically because we record almost always. There's been like a couple of times when we didn't do this, but we almost always record the day before the podcast goes out.
So we record on Mondays.
So we record on Monday. So we were going to record on St. Paddy's Day. So because of that, even though we're not recording on St. Paddy's Day, we are still going to cheers with the Guinness Foreign Extra Stout. Yeah, this is not just the Guinness Extra Stout, nor is it just the Guinness Stout. It is the Guinness Foreign Extra Stout. It comes with the yellow label.
Oh. Mm-hmm. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you.
It's so good. It's just so good.
What is it?
It's just so smooth.
How is that?
And it's got like almost a little hazelnutty in it.
It's a little, the malt is more toasted, right? Is what it is. They were telling us about this when we went to Dublin years ago, and he was like saying that it's more stout than Guinness. Right?
Because I have no recollection.
Well, do you know about this? Like a stout, it's just a stout porter, right? Like a stout is a porter, but a porter is not a stout.
I feel like you should look this up for the next episode because I don't know how to help you.
That's a good idea.
And this is actually applicable, but we're going to talk about this afterwards.
Oh, we'll talk about that afterwards.
That's coming afterwards.
Well, do you want to talk about where we were yesterday?
So where we were, so that we were going to record late in, or we were going to record late in the day, which was the St. Paddy's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love St. Patty's.
I do.
But I didn't really do St. Patty's.
She didn't get
her
corned beef and cabbage.
For a good reason. Corned beef and cabbage.
For a good reason.
Because we got to go to an employee preview of the new Universal theme park in Orlando, Epic Universe.
Oh my gosh.
And guys, you can't take pictures. You can't talk about it. You can't be on social media in there. You can't do anything.
It's just,
But I will say, and I feel like this is totally safe, and if not, we can edit it out.
Go ahead.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Disney needs to watch its ass because Universal is coming for them. You cannot do all of it in one day.
Don't even try.
And
we were there for 7 hours with a light crowd, and I mean,
and we didn't even get through half of it.
We didn't. No. Yeah, I think you're right.
No, we didn't even get through half of it.
We saw all of the lands,
but we didn't even get through half of the things to do.
No.
And it was a super light crowd.
And we get to go back Thursday, and I'm hoping we get to finish it off, but we'll see. Yeah.
But
man,
and like not talking about anything that's like in the lands, but it is well known that there is a hotel on property.
Yes.
And I've never fully understood the appeal of like resort hotels. Like I get the
Helios, I think. Helios.
I don't know, but like this hotel literally looks out on the park.
You would walk out of the doors of the hotel and into the park.
Like it is
It's so cool.
It's so close, and you're going to be able to see everything from the hotel rooms.
We live in rush hour, less than 30 minutes away. We are still planning on actually staying the night, like at some point, because it is
so cool.
It is just
so with all the things that
I don't think Universal is going to get mad at us for talking about this because this is great coverage for them.
Yeah, but that's why. But we're not saying anything about like
anything.
The lands, the rides, what's available.
No, even stuff that we purchase, we're not allowed to share.
Yeah, it's a big deal. But the things that we can say is that we went. 2 days is not enough.
No. Disney one day is definitely not enough. 2's probably not enough either.
2's not going to be enough with crowds.
No.
With crowds,
especially if you go in the first year, not a chance.
You're going to need time. So
I would say the first 3 years.
You're going to need a lot of time. Mm-hmm. Pack yourself some money because there is some really cool stuff there you can buy. And if you're like, is this the time to splurge for a resort hotel?
On property? Yes.
I haven't seen anything about the inside, but just based on location.
Yes.
It's the whole thing is so cool.
Somebody, to go back to what you were saying earlier, an employee said this to us before they did the rope drop to let everybody in. We got there quite early. I'm glad we did, but they said I don't know how Disney is going to catch up, and I was like, okay. And then we walked through, and I went, I don't know how Disney's going to catch up. This is insane. And that's not me bad-mouthing Disney either. Like, we enjoy going to the parks very much. I honestly don't know how I don't know how they're going to do it. So we could spend the entire episode talking about this, but we can't.
We could spend the entire episode talking about this without even really talking about this.
It's so
and just
true.
Like centering
we really
out
could.
what it is. But we should actually.
We should actually probably talk about that little.
So good.
Yeah, I know.
So good.
I know. Hey, if this world gets big enough, maybe this could be a land too. You never know. You never know.
They have the Widow's Run water ride. It's a flume. Watch out. It's a bit rocky.
You just see bodies pass as you go by. Oh, look, who is that? No! I'm kidding. It's like people who haven't read in the book and you're actually like tossing in characters from the book.
That would be hilarious. Like put series spoilers in the flume ride so people are like seeing future deaths as they
go when Paige finally bites it. I'm kidding. Paige had better not bite it.
They go over the edge of the cliff.
No, you went like into the fissure. No,
it could not be. Nope. This would not work.
Okay. All right. Great. So, why don't you bring us back into... I was about to say bringing us back into reality, which is not true. Man, we live both our professional lives and our personal lives in the realm of fantasy. Mm-hmm. You ever think about that? Because you're an author, I'm an actor. And then we go to places like Epic.
Yeah, but I mean, we do other stuff too.
We do, but like we live in a land of fantasy. Constantly.
Yes, that is what Orlando is.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome. Okay, so why don't you tell us what happened last time on this little book of yours that we're on chapter 32 now?
Jeez.
Which you said there's only, probably 5-6 more chapters?
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, are we ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, if you're ready.
Previously on Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer. It is the day before the hike, y'all. And because of a dead guy garden, it turns out Jason and Ella are going to have to go into the forest.
You know, I'm not going to be able to turn the music up, like, at all. It's going to all have to be at, like, negative 20 decibels because how softly you're talking.
I'm doing sexy voice.
You're a tech nightmare.
Okay. So after we figure out that Jason and Ella are going to have to go on the hike by their own, we find out one of Laurel High's many secrets. Like, Violet can break in very easily. There's also a secret safe room for the werewolves in the school.
I forgot about her breaking in to get the sketchbooks. I totally forgot about that. Yeah,
she knows how to get in and out. She knows where the safe room is. Yep. There has been someone in her pack in this high school since it was built.
So who built a safe room for the non-Etherians to protect them from the werewolves?
Nobody.
That sucks.
They're all just on their own.
Oh, boy.
So we find out that there is this nice little safe room in the high school, which is basically just a lounge with weapons and a few board games. Both Violet and Caleb Both Violet and Caleb pretty much tell Ella, like, we don't think you're capable of going in the woods by yourself. Someone needs to go with you. You need a babysitter. Yep. And she tells them in a grand old way with a lovely game of Never Have I Ever to go fuck themselves.
Correct. Yes, she does.
And that pretty much
I think that does. I think that does it. A lovely little lounge with some weapons and some board games. And I started thinking about the board games that are in there. Do we mention any of those? I forget. Mm-mm. What would be in the Nikolic safe room for board games? I feel like it would all be like you would have to have Betrayal at House on the Hill. No, is that too cliche?
No, I think they definitely have Catan just so that they can get in massive
or do
fights.
they play I forgot the name of your game.
No, they're not going to play that.
Oh, okay.
Because that's too, like, you don't want to play that with your siblings.
That's fair.
Because right now it's the Nikolics, really. So, like...
Yeah. All right. So, okay. Well, I expect an answer to that question. Give me a board game that is in that area.
Settlers of Catan.
Oh, that's right. You did. Give me another one. You can think on it.
I want to say that they have Pretty Princess.
Okay.
Because I want to say that it's used as a torment tool. You know what I mean? Like, I do. You fuck up, we're going to play Pretty fucking Princess.
Do you remember when you had me play that with you in college?
Oh my God, it was so fun.
Uh-huh.
I love it.
Yep.
I love Pretty Princess. It's a great game.
It's not a bad game, I'll admit. All right. So
the only problem is if you put those rings on your finger,
you can't get them off.
No.
And
they're
they
very
hurt.
stuck.
Yeah, they are very stuck. I don't like them. All right, so...
I still haven't learned that lesson.
So we are 10 out of 10 for Epic Universe and like a 6 out of 10 for Pretty Princess. All right, so are you ready for the chapter?
6.3 out of 10, and yes.
6.3? All right.
Because I like the little clippy earrings.
I got too nerdy and Megan made me cut it.
Nerd!
Yeah, all right. Okay, so are you ready then?
Can you like?
I can do it. No, I can do it. I can do it.
Push your glasses all the way up your nose and begin.
I'm not wearing glasses currently because the light would reflect off of the lenses, and nobody wants that.
I don't know what the hell is going on right now, but maybe we should start reading before it gets worse.
All right. Okay, so then.
And it got worse.
Yeah, and that is a line in this chapter. Spoiler alert. Without further ado, and geekdom outside of the reading of the chapter, I present to you Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer by Megan O. Russell, Chapter 3.2. Sorry, that's 32. Staring at your reflection in a window for too long does the same weird thing as staring in a mirror. Your face stops looking like your face. It distorts, and parts of it fade and morph and twist into a monstrous echo you're not sure you want to recognize. I sat with the monster for a while, staring out the window, watching for movements in the darkness of the trees beyond my reflection. A part of me liked studying her. How had she earned her monstrous form? Had it been one horrible act or 1,000 tiny transgressions? My phone buzzed. Again, I left it face down. I didn't have it in me to want to read the message, but the sound was enough to pull me back out of uselessly pondering how much hell a person can crawl through before there's nothing left of them but scar tissue. I closed my eyes, twisted my hair back up, gave myself a moment to scream internally, then went back to sorting the sketches on my desk. Most of the pages had already been placed in 3 stacks. Cliff, Clara pre-Cliff, random. I'd been combing through sketches, studying each image, searching for connections to Jason's attack I might have missed. I had a few quick sketches of Jason in the hall with the shadowy wings, but that was a vision of the future, and unless things took a winged turn tomorrow, wasn't about our current quest. The dead girl on the cracked concrete floor didn't have a wound slashed across her back like Jason and Clara. Paige's wall of pictures could be her trying to figure out what happened to Clara once she finds out Clara's dead, but that didn't seem important for tomorrow. Noah in the parking lot shouting Luca's name. I tried not to let myself think about all the ways people finding out Clara had been murdered could royally fuck Luca over, especially if Luca did kill her. But it hadn't seemed like Clara was fighting someone she knew. But if he'd snapped and she couldn't even make herself see him as Luca anymore, but if he was innocent, this could destroy his life for nothing. I'd be taking a torch to Violet's and Jason's families. You go ahead and put your foot down, you weirdo. The slow motion with which Megan makes any movements in her chair while I'm recording are hilarious. What are you doing? Are you comfy? Can I continue?
Yeah.
Thank you. I tried not to let...
have to help me.
I did have to help you. That's how I do, okay? All right. I tried not to let myself think about all the ways people finding out Clara had been murdered could royally fuck Luca over, especially if Luca did kill her. But it hadn't seemed like Clara was fighting someone she knew. But if he'd snapped and she couldn't even make herself see him as Luca anymore, but if he was innocent, this could destroy his life for nothing. I'd be taking a torch to Violet's and Jason's families, fucking up the living for the sake of the dead. But, knowing what had happened to Clara, I had no fucking choice but to drop the torch and see what burned. Even if the very fucking least Clara deserved wasn't making sure Lauraldale and all its Ethereans knew they were vile, apathetic fucks for ignoring her disappearance, and even if the inherently moral path wasn't doing everything I could to make sure the monster who'd killed her couldn't hurt anyone else, I'm a fucking Sybil. Sybil's were literally created to do this shit. I was born this way to do this shit. Protect Ethereans and fuck the cost. An Etherean had been murdered. There were no buts to top that. I dug my knuckles into my eyes, making myself do 4 cycles of box breathing before finishing my sketch sort and putting everything I didn't need away. Knowing I had to pick up my phone if I wanted to swipe through and double check that I had all the necessary pictures of my cliff sketches made the idea of touching it even less appealing. I didn't want to read the text from the people I was pissed as fuck at who were supposed to be my allies in this shit. I wish I could say it was because I needed to focus. I had Sybil shit to do and could deal with friend drama later. And sure, emotional turmoil isn't great for keeping a vision-free head while out murder scene hunting. The bigger part of it was pure fucking exhaustion and enough experience to know yanking Clara's death into the open could easily get fucked enough for me to be burned out of town. Then, being pissed at Caleb and Violet wouldn't matter. I'd be heading off to whoever the hell would take me next, trying to convince myself it was worth trudging through the motions of making friends again. You're catastrophizing, Ella. Faking a find is fucking child's play, Ella. You're overtired and spiraling, Ella. Pack. I needed to pack. Not pack to flee Lauraldale, pack for the hike. Kate loved the idea of me spending time with friends, so I had a stack of snacks on the bed along with Kate's own day pack. Gotta try that again. I said stack of snacks, something like that.
Oh, I got a fidget break, okay.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know why. Oh, it's because I'm on steroids for the lupus. That's why I can't stop fidgeting. Jeez,
for those of you who have been along for the Megan Has Lupus ride, which has been coming to you since 2009.
Yeah, I'm a wiggle worm tonight.
You are a wiggle worm. But no, Megan was on a month-long course of steroids, and it did great job. And then a week after you were off of it, it all started all over again.
It was like 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay. Well,
I got a couple good weeks out of it.
Yeah. So here's hoping that this does the trick.
Fidgets. Okay.
Okay, fidgets.
Continue.
Who needs a fidget spinner when you've got a Megan on steroids? All right.
Okay. That was a weird noise
I made.
noise.
Okay.
How did I do that?
I have no idea.
I don't want to try it again.
Right. Kate loved the idea of me spending time with friends, so I had a stack of snacks on the bed along with Kate's own day pack. Borrowing Kate's bag to do something that would really piss Kate the fuck off? Reason 207, I'm an ass. Gran's knife and asshole cousin's pepper spray both made the packing list. I had shirts long enough to hide the knife on my belt, and even if Jason spotted it, hiking with a knife wasn't absurd. The holy water-laced pepper spray was fully fucking absurd, but useful enough I'd be an idiot to leave it behind. A cocky idiot. I pulled my super fancy weapons from their place in my desk drawer, rallied the will to stand, and went to the bed, tucking the pepper spray into the little front zipper pocket where, if I wouldn't have instant access, I at least wouldn't have to fumble through protein bars while under attack to find it. Though I probably could have just put the pepper spray in my pocket. Hell, I probably could have handed it to Jason. The utilitarian printing on the canister had more of a gag gift look than if it had had a label with a shirtless vampire begging Daddy to spray him. I'm taking a drink after that. I want to suck your blood. Spray me, Daddy. Okay. I want to say something else, but I'm not going to.
No, don't you dare. Okay. Let's go back to that utilitarian printing.
You got it. The utilitarian printing on the canister had more of a gag gift look than if it had had a label with a shirtless vampire begging Daddy to spray him. But the pepper spray hadn't been made as a joke. Hadn't been given entirely as a joke either. Kian might be an ass 85% of the time, but my fuckhole cousin did care about my safety. Kian would fucking flay anyone who hurt me. My exhausted, mushy brain contorted the reality of Kian, twisting the ratio, making me think the fuck was only an ass 58% of the time, a number low enough to justify missing him. Okay, maybe not Kian himself, but the minuscule anchor still having family who claimed me provided for the coming shitstorm. I had a pack too, even if I couldn't live with them. But I'd be fine. My parents had other friends that would happily take me in. I could even run to Auntie V. I'd be fine. Totally fine. And no matter where I ended up, I would still be Gale. The bitter remains of my family would still provide that fucked up little anchor. And Kian would still be an ass no less than 58% of the time. That was enough to finally make me pick up my phone, skillfully dodging seeing anything more on my screen than new message notifications from Violet, Paige, and Caleb, and pull up my text thread with Kian. Sorry, do you want me to go back and do that sentence again? Mm-hmm. Okay. Messing up.
You're messing up my words.
Yeah,
okay.
Prepositions. Jeez Louise. That was enough to finally make me pick up my phone, skillfully dodging seeing anything more on my screen than new message notifications from Violet, Paige, and Caleb, and pull up my text thread with Kian. You're a fuck. I typed the message and hit send. The little status notification didn't instantly flip to red. I swiped over to the messages from Paige, a seemingly safe bet that paid off. Thank you for being so nice about our postponing the full team outing until next week. Have fun with Jason and take lots of pictures, even if you don't find the cliff. And a second message. Make sure Jason actually marks where you've searched on the map. Don't let him say he'll remember. Pack a pencil and make him mark things down as you go. Trust me. I grabbed a pencil from my desk to shove into Kate's pack. My phone buzzed as I zipped the pencil into the pocket with the pepper spray. A message back from Kian. Fuck off. I grinned with resentful joy. The same loathingly loving call and response.
Response?
Shut up.
The same lovingly loathingly call and response.
I think I still have sensory overwhelm from yesterday.
I am not surprised.
All right. The same loathingly loving call and response stretched unbroken up my phone screen, reaching back for months, the only difference being Kian and I switching off who initiated contact with "you're a fuck" and who responded with "fuck off." Confidence in that enduring bond made swiping to Violet's text thread easy. If you die, it's your own fucking fault. Be careful. That was it. Shockingly chill. Not demeaning. Didn't make me want to stab her. Impressive, considering how many talking points about her assholery I still wanted to shout at her, and all the shit she probably still wanted to growl at me. It didn't change my lack of will to talk to her. Tomorrow is a completely normal day. Breathe. Play nice with Paige. Use Sydney as a buffer if you have to. Keep calm and dead guy garden on. I typed out the message and reread it 3 times. Necessary advice with no implication of forgiveness, but a dash of humor to show I wasn't irrevocably angry. I hit send, second-guessed myself, and sent another text. Remember what you don't know. A weird and almost cold nausea started at the back of my ribs, surging farther out into my body in trembling waves until it filled my limbs with a chilling wrongness. A useless, flaccid husk, that's all my body was. A person-shaped abomination that might as well be raw chicken breasts held together by superglue and razors. A danger to anyone who comes close enough to risk contamination. You know how to do this, Ella. I dug my knuckles into my eyes again, this time picturing tomorrow like a path created by a knee-high 3D map that kept unrolling in front of me, laying out the day scene by scene as I walked onward. I studied the terrain as my imaginary me strolled through the plan for tomorrow. Not meeting Jason and riding over to the trailhead together, key moments in an intense day of one-on-one humaning. Ella Day is not an athlete. Ella Day is outdoorsy, but not as experienced as Jason. Ella Day does not know Clara Miranda was ever near that cliff. Ella Day is a murder noob. Ella Day needs to get her fucking shit together. I tossed my phone onto my bed on the way to grab pajamas, pretending my hands weren't shaking on the drawer handle from the sudden certainty I'd I tossed my phone onto my bed on the way to grab pajamas. I'm fine. Pretending my hands weren't shaking on the drawer handle from the sudden certainty I'd overestimate. Would you stop it? Megan's face just kept creeping closer and closer to mine. And we are talking about really creepy stuff. Stop. And I've been reading It lately, okay? Jeez.
I haven't even thought of tormenting you about that. I should get some red balloons.
Nope.
Oh, I'm going to have so much fun. I hope the brain injury doesn't make me forget this before we're done recording.
If you do this,
radishes.
You will unleash hell upon yourself, because I just don't. Okay, it's an empty threat, but no, don't do it.
I know, it's a totally empty threat. You never do that to me. Oh, such brilliant torture lies ahead.
I'll play it while you're in the car with me from now on. I'll play the story. Megan refuses to listen to it with me.
It just felt like we were in middle school and they were like, she refuses to listen to it.
Honey, we need to talk about it. It can be scary, but sometimes it can be nice.
We have gotten so far off track.
No euphemisms today? Okay. No, sorry. That was the Evan sex chapter. I tossed my phone onto my bed on the way to grab pajamas, pretending my hands weren't shaking on the drawer handle from the sudden certainty I'd overestimated my ability to function solo. Mom and Dad had always been there for the prep work. Even when I'd had to, / when they'd let me frolic away on my own, someone a hell of a lot more experienced than me was there to check my work. Like we were doing human handling quizzes before a big test in Let's Get the Cops Involved class. Every mental health professional who'd ever gotten their hands on me would have worriedly furrowed their brow that my nerves ebbed because, for me personally, all care for other people tossed aside to worry only about myself like a selfish fuck, this was the lowest stakes shitstorm I'd ever called forth. I'd already lost Mom, Dad, and Gran and had my life torn apart. Losing the tiny scrap of a life I'd managed to weave together in Laureldale wouldn't shred my being with the kind of agony I'd cheerfully greet the Grim Reaper before ever facing again. It would be more like broken ribs. Painful, but nowhere near enough to end me. That super fucked up cheer carried me all the way through getting ready for bed, which led to me standing beside my bed where my phone lay on the comforter, blocking me from actually getting into said bed. You're fucking Gale Pack! I grabbed the phone. You don't get to hide from a fucking boy. I swiped to Caleb's texts. It wasn't a text. He'd sent a voice memo. Still standing, because the dull, heavy ache in the front of my chest promised sitting meant doom, I pressed play. Hi, Ella. Caleb didn't sound mad or worse, detached. I know this is a cowardly move. A band cinched around my ribs. But this is my 6th recording attempt, and I'll probably screw it up again this time too, so trying this in person would have been a terrible, terrible thing for me to try. Right. I'm not sorry for worrying about you, and I'm not sorry for being right about Jason's inability to handle himself against whatever or whoever killed Clara, or for hating the idea of you being out in the woods with only him for backup if something goes wrong. I'm also not sorry for putting the parts I'm not sorry for at the beginning of this. I tried not mentioning them or putting them after... I tried not mentioning them or putting it after the real apology, but it comes out sounding fake or like I'm trying to get an apology out of you and... Shit. 2 beats of silence passed. I am sorry for not even thinking through how incredibly different your life has been from mine. His words came out measured, like he really had practiced them. Aside from Violet's general bloodlust, I've never been in a fight with someone who wanted me dead. I've never seen that kind of fight either. But knowing you've been stabbed makes the idea of you getting hurt more real and not being there to protect shit. The word muddied at the end like he dragged his hand down his face. I respect your experience and your right to make choices about your own safety. His attempt at a rehearsed tone failed. If you think me staying behind tomorrow is the best call, that's what I'll do. I hope... Silence. I hope this is close enough to getting this apology right because it's the most coherent, least self-justifying version I've managed. I think I should send this one before I dissolve into a pleading mess that's so overwhelmed with fear of you getting hurt and of fucking up and losing you and paranoia that things are going to get worse once you find the cliff and... I'm sorry. Shit, I'm sorry. Ella, I don't know how to sit with that much weight. I'm sorry I let fear get in the way of my understanding how capable you really are. Wow. I'm pretty proud of that one, actually. A wisp of a laugh bumped through his words. This is definitely my best apology attempt, so I'm going to send it. Silence. 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 If you don't want me to come over tonight, let me know. Otherwise, I'll be there. Yeah. I think that's all. Bye. The message ended. I stared at the screen. A tiny part of me peeved at his having stolen my ability to fight back on anything he'd said, both because he'd sent a recording and because his apology had actually been really damn good and the reasons I had for being mad at him were withering. Beneath the voice memo, which had a timestamp of 5:17 p.m., was a normal text message that had arrived during my sketch sorting. Got stuck somewhere. Not sure for how much longer. If you leave the window unlocked, I can open it from the outside. Unless you tell me not to, I promise I'll be there. I pressed play on the voice memo, listening through it again as I pulled Caleb's sleeping bag from its hiding place under my bed, unlocked the window, and, because I'd unlocked the window, tucked Gran's knife under my pillow, not deciding exactly what message I wanted to send Caleb until I'd already climbed into my incredibly welcoming bed and turned out the light. Underestimate me again and I'll stab you was too mean after such a good apology. You're forgiven left out the nuance that I wasn't entirely sure I had forgiven him. I wasn't sure if I was capable of truly forgiving anyone for that particular transgression. I settled for Windows unlocked, sent the message, set my phone on the nightstand, and fell asleep waiting for the buzz of his response. This time in the nightmare, I wasn't Clara in the monster's arms. I was me as he threw me over the cliff. Terrified, but not in pain, even as I hit the bottom of the fissure. My arms moved. My legs moved. The jagged stones beneath me didn't cut my palms. I pushed myself to my feet, and night closed in around me. The wrong night. The wrong place. Wake up, Ella. It's a dream, Ella. But I couldn't wake up. I couldn't make myself want to wake up. Not when terror promised there was something here that wanted to tear me apart. Not with claws, not that merciful. The hidden thing would shred my soul. I needed to see it. I needed to see the face of the demon who thought he could still hold such power over me. Dark shapes churned through the night, sweeping past me, not attacking, caught in the same current that dragged me forward, forcing me into the clearing. The clearing. A clearing. A clearing in the woods. Not a place I knew. A creek ran nearby. A body lay on the ground. Eyes open and blank. Face familiar. Noah. Poor Noah. Why Noah? I needed to see why. The soul-shredding something. There. Right there. I found it. Terror seized every ounce of my being. My mind recoiled, hiding the something from me before I could hold on to what it had been. The terror gained form, shrouding the unbearable thing in deadly sharp onyx, protecting my mind from the fear it couldn't handle. The jagged, glinting black spread, covering Noah's corpse, consuming the rocky ground and the creek, growing toward me. Me trapped in my body, my feet unable to move. I couldn't run. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't scream. Black pierced my flesh, slicing to the bone as the onyx grew up my legs. No, shh, you're okay. The sky spoke with Caleb's voice. I looked up. The moon was bright. Hey, I'm right here. The black stopped just below my ribs, sparing my lungs, letting me take a gasping breath. It's just a nightmare. the sky assured. Everything's fine. You're safe. I won't let anything happen to you. The black released its hold on me and sank away, taking the something in the clearing with it, leaving me alone in a quiet void where I slowly forgot my body existed and melted back into sleep. I woke up when the light hit my eyes. The weight of Caleb's arm around my waist, the feel of the comfortable spot on his shoulder beneath my head, his scent surrounding me, all of it confirmed he'd kept his promise and gotten me through the night. My curiosity about the time didn't outweigh my comfort. I snuggled closer to Caleb, and he tightened his arms around me. Not a lot, a subtle movement he might not have even woken up for. I hoped he was asleep. I liked that better. The next time I woke up, still in Caleb's arms, the brightness of the light made knowing the time important enough for me to move. I took a breath, steeling myself for the Herculean task of summoning the will to roll over and check my phone. Caleb's hold on me shifted again, but in a decidedly awake way, gently rubbing my back. Shh, go back to sleep. I did, not waking up again until my alarm rang. It was not a welcome sound. I broke out of my Caleb cocoon, fumbling on top of my nightstand for my phone. I didn't notice the sounds of movement coming from the kitchen until they stopped. I wasn't surprised Kate, assuming it was Kate in her own kitchen, had heard my alarm. I didn't exactly have it on a low volume, but her pause somehow accentuated the short distance between my guardian and the boy in, well, technically on, my bed. I turned off the alarm, slowly eased back down, like that might somehow keep Kate from seeing me through the fucking wall, and curled back onto Caleb's shoulder, phone firmly in hand to silence any future sounds. He laid his hand on my arm, his thumb grazing slow strokes and the gentlest reminder that this time I did have to stay awake. My brain was too muddy to think up what to say. Thank you for saving me from the Onyx demon wasn't right. Neither was fucking creepy of you to manage to climb through the window and into bed beside me without me noticing. Morning, Caleb whispered. I hadn't thought of that option. Morning. Thank you for leaving the window unlocked. Thank you for another night of Ella duty almost came out, but it wasn't really what I meant. I tipped my chin up to look at him. He had worry in his eyes, not sleep. A touch more of my remaining resentment trickled away. I brushed a kiss to the side of his neck, too comfortable to wriggle high enough to reach his cheek. Thank you for trusting that I can do this on my own. He stiffened. Just barely, the movement small enough I doubt I would have noticed if I weren't in his arms. What? I started to pull away, but he drew me closer. Nothing bad, I promise. I let him pin me beside him, but didn't relax. He shut his eyes, took a breath, scrunched his eyes tighter, took a second breath, and a third breath, then opened his eyes. I don't generally go for human superstitions, but my dad does, and some of them have rubbed off. Which ones? He didn't stop me from pushing away from him this time as I twisted up to lean on my elbows, giving myself a better view of his blush, which incidentally gave him a great view down the front of the tank top I'd been sleeping in, which deepened his blush in a massively satisfying way I pretended not to notice. Tell me. I flicked his arm. Kiddo, Kate called through my bedroom door, turning my heart to fucking cement. I'm making eggs. Do you want some? You should have protein before a big day scrambling around the slopes. Fuck. Yeah, sure, I called back. Thank you. I'm making them scrambled, so they'll be ready in a minute, Kate said. Fuck. Be right out. I rested my forehead on the heels of my hands, preparing myself to face the dreaded task of getting out of bed. Procrastinating, I whispered to Caleb, what superstitions rubbed off? The pertinent one. Pertinent? I laughed. Mundane objects as lucky charms. I opened my eyes as the bed shifted, watching him destroy my hope of curling up beside him for one more minute by twisting his sleeping-bagged feet over the side of the bed and standing to step out of his anti-lust sack. He headed toward his hanging coat, sparking enough intrigue for me to push myself up to sitting. Kiddo, Kate called from the kitchen. Caleb froze, wide eyes fixed on my bedroom door right beside him, hand halfway into his coat pocket. Coffee too, right? Yes, please. I fought to keep my laughter silent as, eyes still fixed on the door, Caleb pulled a little black paper bag from his pocket and crept back to the bed, not looking away until he sat beside me. Lucky charm? When Dad and I moved to Laureldale, I was afraid to be anywhere without him, especially the forest. He carefully unfolded the top of the bag as he whispered, wincing and glancing to the door when the paper made a noise. I was sure if I went out there without him, I would disappear and he'd never be able to find me. Once Dad finally figured out why I was so scared, he got me this as a lucky charm. Cheeks pinking, brow tense, Caleb pulled a thin leather cuff from the bag. The black embossed band had a single metal ornamentation, an etched bird on a freshly polished silver disc. Dad promised if I wore this, I'd always make it home. Caleb hesitated, holding my gaze like he wanted to give me time to laugh or call him a human-raised idiot. I felt neither temptation. This cuff has had a 100% success rate for me, and as dumb as it sounds, I'd feel a lot better with you wearing it. He held the gift his father had given him out to me, like it wasn't the most precious thing in the world. Fire didn't steal everything he owns, Ella. I held up my hand, letting him lay the treasure in my palm. The leather was thick, meant to last, but softened by wear. Beneath the sheen of fresh polish, nicks and scratches marked the band. I'd forgotten that I put this away because I broke the buckle. I had to take it to my leather guy to get it fixed. That's why I was so late last night. I turned the cuff, examining the new buckle. You have a leather guy? I do now. Caleb shrugged. I held out my left wrist and handed the cuff back to him. For your sake, I'll indulge in human superstition. The tension in his brow eased as he wrapped the leather around my wrist. And since you took the time to get it fixed, heat blasted into my cheeks. I'll wear it gratefully. Besides, you worrying about my safety isn't awful. He froze, fingers on the now fastened buckle. Not necessary. The skin on my face should have fucking melted off from the blazing fire of my blush. But not awful. I kept my hand in his as I turned my wrist to see the bird charm. A kingfisher. Wings spread and tail feathers on display, the bird looked over her shoulder like she wanted me to follow. Eggs up, Kate called. Shit, fuck. I leapt off the bed where I'd been considering saying fuck the risk of blurring the boundaries between Ella Keeper Caleb and Please Just Touch Me Caleb to fucking pounce him and hope he forgot reason 2 so I could finally feel his skin against mine, and dove toward my dresser, grabbing socks and the sweater I'd tossed on top while Caleb snatched his sleeping bag from the floor and dodged into the bathroom. Coming! I rammed my feet into my socks, glanced to the Coming! I rammed my feet into my socks, glanced to the now closed bathroom door, dragged my sweater on, and slipped out into the kitchen for eggs and coffee with Kate. The whole time we ate, I kept the cuff hidden up my sleeve. Not because I thought Kate would spot it, point, and say, "Ah, why ever was Caleb Clark in your room?" I liked hiding Caleb's lucky charm. Liked the feel of the secret burning against my flesh, promising that losing Laureldale would hurt more than broken ribs with every shift of my sleeve. Caleb had vanished by the time I got back into my room after breakfast. For the best, but I'd wanted to say something more to him. Or kiss him. I didn't know which, only that it felt like I'd missed something. Like the song of the morning never found the last note. The unfinished feeling scratched at the back of my brain as I prepped for the hike. Teeth brushed, anti-vision blood ritual performed, water bottles filled, not fading as I said goodbye to Kate and drove down to the Argo. Saturday strollers enjoyed the, thankfully, sunny morning, wandering through downtown, slowing the drive, stopping me at every crosswalk. Near the Argo, and therefore the park, it got worse. The fully seated front porch and little line of people waiting for tables really clarified the reason behind Jason's insistence that I use one of the 3 spaces marked "Private Parking, Unauthorized Vehicles will be towed at owner's expense" in the alley behind the Argo / his home. He'd moved his car and parked it with the emergency flashers on just beside the alley where he waited, leaning against what would be my door, talking to Tessa, Noah, poor Noah, Alex from Violet's band, and 2 guys I thought were seniors. Everyone but Jason wore track uniforms, At least, I thought they were track uniforms. Jason and track sounded right, but I'm a shitty-ass friend, so who's to say? Tessa and track definitely sounded right, waved as I drove past, which made Jason look my way. His face lit up when he saw me. The remnants of my Caleb-wrought, skin-tingling, unsustainable euphoria soured into guilt as I smiled for Jason, making my entrance into the worst day of his life with a healthy dose of forced cheer. Oh, and thus ends chapter 32. And you know what? You're right. I need to find a better way of talking into the mic.
I know, you're just like, you're leaning.
What do you mean I'm almost 40 and I can't do things like that? Yeah.
Well, you read the whole thing, so I feel like you should be justified more in front of the microphone.
Sure.
Because I just sit over here fidgeting for a long time. So
I'm
I feel
aware.
Like
I know you do.
The steroids are in my brain.
Oh. Okay, so go ahead and give us your thoughts. What are your thoughts on the chapter?
Right to the brain.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I was really... Okay, so this is one of the cases where I thought that part of this was going to fit into the last chapter, but it moved into this. And so it's...
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is one of the places where I was like, I don't think that I have that many chapters left. And then I was like, 2 chapters became 3 chapters.
Like you do.
But I was kind of really glad that it worked out that way because I got to have a little bit more time to sort of take a quiet pause with Ella and see like, okay, well, this is her starting place as, you know, things go kerpow. This is where she is in this moment. This is what we are doing. And so I'm glad that I got to take that moment with her and take that moment for her to sort of like work through what she sees Caleb as a little bit more. Right.
Yeah. He did kind of, I felt like that deepened their relationship a lot. Like they have their first like real fight, right? Like that's the first bad one. And then he is able to make up for it with the sweetest gesture.
Well, I don't even think it's that their first fight. It's that is like they picked the worst trigger point to jam their fist into.
Yes. Yeah.
And so Agreed. It's more like he managed to diffuse it. Of like, there was a ticking time bomb of no fucking way back.
Right.
And he managed to figure it out.
Yeah, he did. He did a great job.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. Here's the thing, though, is that was he doing that to soften things, or was he doing it more because he was truly worried about her?
Wait, what do you mean? Doing
the
what?
Cuff.
Oh, no, he's truly, genuinely worried.
Right.
Like,
and that's why he gave her. That was the impetus for the cuff.
Yes, that was not like I'm going to make her like me by doing this sweet romantic gesture. Yeah. That was like, fuck, I'm like, this is terrifying.
Right. Yeah.
Because you think about it, like there was a murderer in the woods behind his house.
Yes.
He was in the woods with this murderer.
Yeah.
And now she's like, I'm going murderer finding. I'm taking a human. It's like, I'm going murderer finding. I'm going to take a dachshund for protection. Like, what is that going to do? What good is that going to do you?
He's not a dachshund.
Compared to a fae?
Okay, yeah. Compared to a fae, he's a dachshund. I was gonna say he's a ferret, but ferrets are actually they could take. No,
ferrets would take you down.
Yeah, they will take you down.
Yeah.
Okay, so there were a couple of things.
Like Paige is a ferret.
Paige is totally a ferret.
Paige is a fucking ferret.
Fluttery hair Haley is like a
scorpion.
My goodness! Wow. Yeah. All right. I was gonna say some kind of bird, but. No? Okay, no. Scorpion. All right, well, there you go.
Birds have redeeming qualities.
Scorpions?
No.
Yeah, you're right. They don't. Yeah, no. I'm not a fan. Not a fan of scorpions. Okay, so a couple of things. And there's one thing that I didn't run past you that just occurred to me in this chapter that I'm going to try to hold on to so I can ask you about it. But I don't want to start with that.
Okay.
I want to start with something that you said during Read Aloud that I thought was really very cool and kind of eye-opening for me as a reader. So what I read was, I tossed my phone onto the bed on the way to grab pajamas. And Megan went, no, my bed. She's claimed the bed now. It's my bed, not the bed. Like this is now her place. And I was like, oh my God, I totally like missed that.
Well,
like
not
that
her place,
transition.
that's her bed.
That's her, right. But
like this is her spot. This is her bed.
She's finding belonging.
Yes.
Like, which is amazing. And I was like, oh, I want to talk about that because I don't know that I could really pinpoint when that started happening.
She started doing that a while ago, but
Yeah.
it went from like the Kate's to like my
Right.
bed.
Yes. My desk and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. Windows unlocked. When I read that,
as her Caleb.
I'm getting to it. So where Ella's like, I can't decide what I'm gonna send, what text I'm gonna send, because this one sounds a little too mean, and this one sounds like maybe I am gonna forgive him, and I'm not sure that I am. So what am I gonna send? Windows unlocked. It's like, oh God, oh I felt that. I felt that in my soul.
It was generic. She didn't tip it either way. Good. I'm glad your butthole puckered. May you always remember that should make your butthole pucker.
The thing is, I've received not that message, but I've received a message or two like that from you before. So it's like, oh, because and I said to her, I was like, those are the messages that make you go, and those of you who have been in committed relationships for a while, even a few years, will understand what I mean, because that's really when this started happening. But when you're still figuring each other out, right? And so she would send a message and I'd be like, oh shit. God, I really want to go over there and I need to go over there. If I don't go over there, I'm going to be in big trouble. But if I go over there, there's going to be trouble too. So But that's the only path forward. So I'm fucked and I have to go over there, but I really don't want to go over there. Oh God. Yeah. So.
Well, when you fuck yourself over, you have to deal with the fucking.
Yeah. Right. It's a good way to fuck your own self in the ass, as Violet would say.
I'm so eloquent, aren't I?
You are so eloquent. And now a couple of laugh points, because I was not expecting. Megan had at one point said that the finding out that Evan had sex scene is like, that was really going to be the end of the levity, was that chapter right there. So I was really surprised to find so much levity in this one. For instance, I turned off the alarm, slowly eased back down, like that might somehow keep Kate from seeing me through the fucking wall. And for a second, I went, yeah, Kate's a witch. That's not what Megan's saying.
No, but you know what I mean.
It's like, oh, I'm being sneaky. She can't fucking see me. Yeah. But yeah, right. Like she's going to be Murdoch, Daredevil, and be able to see you by the sound waves.
It's sort of like, it's like the T-Rex thing when you're like, really?
If
the T-Rex is after
me,
I should sneak faster.
Hey, we're already bringing back the woolly mammoth, so hold on to that knowledge.
We don't need to talk about that, hell. Okay,
continue. Well, no, but that's been in the talks for well over a decade now.
Didn't they finally do it to a mouse?
Wait, what?
I think there's a woolly mouse.
There's not a woolly mouse.
I think there's a woolly mouse.
Wow. That's
okay,
crazy.
If there's a woolly, will you remember to update in the podcast description if there is a woolly mouse? Okay, continue.
I will. Okay. And the where she's once again can't figure out what to say to Caleb. Thank you for saving me from the Onyx demon wasn't right. Neither was fucking creepy of you to manage to climb through the window and into bed beside me without me noticing. And then Caleb goes, morning. Oh, I hadn't thought of that option. Morning.
Sometimes simplicity works.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and then calling the sleeping bag his anti-lust sack. What?
It's what it is.
Okay, so now why don't you talk about that? Talk about why you gave me such a great reason. Why did you do that? Because at first I thought it was like, oh, that's just funny. And obviously him being the Fae, he's trying to not like let his urges like ruin shit with him and Ella. Yeah, okay.
Well, no, okay. It is part of him trying to maintain his morals of like, I am not going to prey on anyone in a bad situation. I am not going to give in to that in myself.
Well, it's like how a good, this is sad, how any decent fucking human being should be is if it's like, you're drunk, we're not doing this right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like
that
you're in a
and
bad
people are like,
place.
oh, he's such a good guy. It's like, no, he's a fucking like he's a person. He is how he's.
Oh, you mean
that should be midline?
Yeah, that should not be midline. That should be baseline.
Yeah, I think that's what I was meaning. Is like if you're on a scale of 1 to 5, that should be the 3, because obviously 2 and 1 are gonna be assholes.
No, that would be -2 and -1.
Oh,
and that's
see, I'm not even
jail
doing negatives.
time.
Yeah, well, accurate. Yeah.
So this is like 0. That's 0. That's the bare minimum value.
Right.
Well, how did we get to this?
Oh, because we're talking about the reason that you have the anti-lust sack and them not sleeping together.
Because for him, it's like, I don't want to do this. I'm not going to take advantage of anything. I'm not like giving into whatever faith things that he thinks are going on in his head. Mm-hmm. And so he has a sleeping bag. It's like, this is my spot. That's her spot.
Well, that's my spot.
But the reason that I gave it a little extra emphasis is actually in The Tethering, which is the first series that I ever wrote. Well, no, there's another book, but that's never coming out unless it's a joke. Maybe someday I'll release it as a little prank, but no, it is never coming out. But in that series, 2 of the characters, a male and a female who are romantic interests, end up traveling together for a while, and they share hotel rooms.
This is book 2, by the way, that I'm holding up for when the video gets released in 2 years.
But I got a lot of readers commenting on it, like, there's no way they didn't have sex. There's no way there wasn't anything going on.
Because how old are they at this point? They're 16, 17? They're 16, yeah.
But they're 16-year-olds who are not, like, sneaking off on spring break. There are 16-year-olds who have a lot of things going on, and that cannot be a part of it because it just can't.
There's a
We're not going to get into the reasoning.
Yeah, okay.
But there is a very definitive reason why, like, that cannot be a thing in that moment.
No, yeah, absolutely.
And readers were so just, like, disbelieving that there was any way 2 teens could make it through a night in a room without fucking each other.
Hormones are raging, right? But that's not what's,
But the thing is, if survival will outweigh hormones.
Sure.
Like, there comes to a point where hormones aren't actually the most important thing in a picture. And like, it's going to take a lot to get there depending on the situation. But this is like, that is the situation in The Tethering. And this was... that little comedy drop was sort of my re-emphasis of like, yeah, it is like he would very much like to be in the covers with her.
Right.
But they are not going to do that. And so that is one of the little nods to like, he is keeping it in his pants. There are multiple layers between the fun little bits at all times, so there's no
the fun little bits.
There's layers. There is protection.
Thank God you were never writing erotica.
I am never writing erotica.
And then the fun little bits were in tandem.
And then his velvet wrapped steel plunged into her juicy
oh my God, no! Oh my God. Did you just combine memoirs
of a geisha with Court of Thorns, with Throne of Glass?
Throne of Glass?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
All right, moving on. Now this is my last thing, and I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this.
Ew, like moist velvet.
Should you stop it?
So
oh my
gross.
God!
I can't get it out of my head
I apologize.
now.
I apologize for everyone.
Oh, that image is so bad. I'm so sorry, y'all.
Moist velvet.
We just lost every listener who's ever liked the podcast. They're all like, nope, they use the M word. We out. Say fuck as many times as you want. But
the new David Lynch film, Moist Velvet. All right.
Don't say it again.
What? Velvet? Or moist?
Don't.
Okay. All right. So, no. I'll tame it back down. So here's an interesting thing that I can't believe. The things I don't notice on my first reads, it really makes me question my intelligence. But I didn't think about the fact that I pushed myself to my feet. She has the ability to move in this vision, which by the canon you have laid out means that this is in the past, but this is also a dream. So I don't know if
it's not a vision.
Then how is she seeing this thing that is clearly something that is very dangerous? If it's not a vision and she can move. So does that mean that Noah's not actually going to die? Because it's a dream? But she says poor Noah with such conviction. Damn it, Megan. Okay. I'd like to thank all of you for joining me for this week's episode of Page by Page. This is where we're going to leave you. In this desolate desert where the author is refusing to answer my questions.
Well, here's the thing. Okay. In her vision. even if things are kind of representational,
there
is a thing that is happening. She's in a nightmare right now. So nightmares are often our brains processing things that we haven't gotten to yet. So it's information that has gotten plowed into our little brains, and then our brain is like filtering through all the extra bullshit in there.
Okay.
So that the same thing would happen to a Sybil.
Okay.
Where her nightmares are made of things that are in her brain.
Okay. So well, hold on. So then in her nightmares, could she theoretically be seeing things from the future in her nightmares?
Mm-hmm.
So she can do that.
But they're not laid out like a vision.
So there could be fragments of visions that make their way into her subconscious or her unconscious. I mean,
but there's no way to pick them apart.
Fascinating.
Because the rules aren't going to play the same.
This is, oh God, you probably can't say this at all, but is this the same thing that her mind tries to protect her against before? All right. Okay. Well, I'm fully frustrated. I don't know about you guys, but damn it. Okay. Man, this is deep. This is real deep. Okay. All right. I'm really excited to read this as a finished product, cover to cover.
Me too. I have this constant paranoia that it's not going to work in book form because I've written it to be so episodic that it's going to be exhausting to read in book form.
Yeah.
It's pretty terrifying to me.
But there are books that are written episodically, you know?
But I've never done that before. And I'm like,
Yeah, but you tend to forget that after how many, you're definitely into the millions with the words that you've written. Like, you have had time and practice at your craft.
Yeah, but trying something, well, okay, saying it makes me sound very snobby and like I'm an asshole. But the thing is,
it's okay to know your strengths, babe.
Well, no, it's I know how to do the process for a book.
Right.
And I know how to tell when that process has gone off the rails and we have a problem.
Okay.
But with this one, I'm like, I feel like I'm doing a good job.
I think you're doing a great job.
But there's that, that fear of this format. It does not flow right.
Right.
It does not have
different.
The right book pacing. It does not have the...
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that you looked at there was something else in the chapter that I thought you were going to stop at and see and be like, what's this? Why did you do this? And that's what I thought you were going back to, and it was not. You went back to her having feet.
The hell was... Now I'm confused. And there's motorcycles racing by her window.
Oh, there's something in there that I'm like, I really thought you were going to be like...
Somebody help me, all right? If you caught it, let us know. Drop it in the comments.
I think that it might have to be caught in written form, TBH.
Yeah, but damn it. I am questioning my intelligence.
No, man. It's a very tiny thing. It's a very tiny thing.
All right. Okay.
It's almost like don't say out loud which graphic it is, which chapter image it is. But there's one chapter image that has like a thing in it.
Yeah.
And it's almost that same
which
kind of
nobody
thing.
Has called out yet, right?
No.
Yeah, nobody's called it out yet.
Nobody's called it out yet. And I think nobody's going to call this out either.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm really glad.
Is it something that's going to come into play later?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
But I'm really glad that you picked up on the feed.
Okay.
I feel really special right now.
It was cool. It was cool. I was like, wait, hold on.
Because it's not a vision.
Right.
It's not a vision.
Wow.
So it doesn't follow the same rules.
Okay. Well, okay. Damn. Oh, before we wrap things up, what was it you were going to talk about next week's episode? That's what it was.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. So because this was the last moment of calm, we had our last moment of funny. Well, we had our last moment of ridiculous.
Sure.
There's always going to be funny, but this was our last moment of... we had the last moment of ridiculous with Evan behind the curtain.
Yeah.
We have hit our last moment of calm. And so for next week's episode, we are actually going to do a special episode before we break into the final bit of
stretch.
the story.
Crazy.
And for this special episode, we decided what we're doing. Now this could change in the meantime.
Yeah, I love this idea.
This could change in the meantime because we haven't actually done it yet, and who's to say? This could go completely horrible.
I think part of this came, I don't remember if it was you who said it or if Brittany said it or if like you two played off of each other for this, but it initially was going to be where you picked stouts that got like stoutier and I picked IPAs that got hoppier, but that we're kind of keeping ish with that, but we're doing a different route, and I like this better.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is
not that wasn't a great idea, but I like this. This is a nice evolution of it.
Well, no, because I think it's gonna give us talking points to go with.
I know. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool way to combine the ideas.
So then, can I tell them what it is?
No, I'm gonna keep interrupting Starfish. Continue.
So what we're going to do is we're both going to go into Total Wine, and we are going to pick 3 beers for each other based on just the description of the bottle, and pair the description of the beer on the bottle with a character. So let's say that we had like sweet with a nutty aftertaste. And I had that bottle. Then, Chris, what character would you guess?
Sweet with a
nutty aftertaste.
Jason?
No.
Really?
No.
Who?
I was gonna go with Noah.
I don't feel like I've gotten to know Noah well enough to call him sweet.
The thing is, poor Noah.
I know. Poor Noah. But no, I say that we stick with Jason, Caleb, Ella, Violet, Paige.
We'll make a list.
Yeah.
We'll make a list of characters.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do is we're going to go with the description of the beer.
Yeah.
And then based on that, we have to guess the character.
I was going to say, and Clara, and we can just get a beer that doesn't effervesce at all. I
was going to say you're just going to get a Dead Guy Ale.
A Dead Guy Ale? Ooh, we haven't had that in forever. That's a good ale.
We should have Dead Guy. Now we have to have Dead Guy Ale.
All right. Well, we figured out Clara.
Clara is Dead Guy Ale. Do we have anything that's bitter and might hurt you on the way down?
Oh, there's tons of beers like that out there. There are jalapeno infused stouts.
Oh, no, I don't want that. I want to give you something like that for Violet. It's going to be fun. I think that this will be great.
Oh, you know what? A jalapeno goes would be really, really good. Ooh. Those are actually very tasty.
Okay, back to the podcast.
Okay,
back to focusing.
Sorry.
So that is going to be the catch-up episode this time. Is we are going to do beer and character pairings while doing our final season catch-up.
That's crazy.
Before we hit the end of the book.
I'm scared.
I
don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea what's coming.
Well, here's the thing.
I know one thing that's going to happen.
The next chapter, we know.
Right.
They're
hiking. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We have 5 more chapters.
So you say.
That doesn't bode well.
No, it doesn't. You're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Some bad's gonna happen. Oh my gosh! All right. So why don't you tell them where they can find us?
Oh, right. So you can find us on, well, besides whatever podcast platform you are listening on, you can find us on Substack, where you can find the blog posts that have extra information about the world of Lauraldale, as well as the chapters and text form for my ARC group. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all those lovely things, and at meganorussell.com. Now, if you could do me a huge favor after you listen to this episode and go onto your favorite podcast platform and share, subscribe, all those good things. And also, if you have a friend who you think would enjoy the page-by-page madness with us, then please tell them about the podcast and invite them to come along on our journey, because we are getting towards the end of book 1, which will be the end of season 1. So yeah, invite all of your friends to come along on this journey with us.
And this will continue on. It will continue on to seasons.
That is the goal.
That's the goal.
So tell your friends so we can make the goal a reality and get season 2 going, because this is fun, and I don't want to stop. I'm having quite a bit of fun.
We'll have to figure out too what we're going to pair with the chapters for next season, because I think we need to cut out beer. It's the beer is hard for you. The beer is hard for me. The belching aspect is hard for you in the narration. All of you call me out. You're
just like the two episodes ago, you were like, we may need to rethink beer. And you sounded very solemn about it. And you just did this.
Rethink beer, yeah.
And then your eyes just got all sad and tired, and you were like, I think we may need to rethink beer. No, the honest truth is we chose a carbonated beverage.
Yeah, it was not a great idea.
That was not a great idea.
Yeah.
But I still want my little drinky poo to make me feel less awkward about sitting here.
You got it. You still have your little drinky poo.
I love a drinky poo.
I know you do. All right. So I think that is all that we have. So until next time, thank you for reading.